My name is Wasentha Young. I was born in New York City and I left New York back in the 70s and went to Santa Fe, Boulder, Colorado, and then I came here to Ann Arbor in 1988. I've always been into art as a child. My mother was an artist, and I can remember the first time that she actually acknowledged my creativity when she came home and I had put nails all around the ceiling and had taken different color yarn and strung it up all around the ceiling. And she came into the apartment and she said, "Wasentha, why did you do that?" And I said, "Because I'm tired of living in a box." And she said, "Oh, okay." And from then on, my creativity just kept flourishing. I did a lot of writing, I did some beadwork, I studied art in college for a little while, and eventually came to mosaics as my art form. Well, this piece here was that's something that just came out of me. When George Floyd was murdered, I struggled internally to find a way to express my feelings around being African American and some of what we go through, both the struggles and the wonderful aspects of being African American in this country. So I was involved with clouds as my body of works. And then when that happened, it changed where I decided I was going to let my next body of work be a series of masks. And so this particular mask is an expression about our voice, that even though during this pandemic, we are silenced in so many ways, we still come forward in our power, in our economics, in our education, in our connection with community. So the mask itself is called Nia, based on one of the principles of Kwanzaa. When I was creating this mask, it was probably the first time that I had this inner voice that said, "You are the master of your work. Master your resources, master your tools, master your creativity." And I started to feel empowered even more so when this mask was being created. Inspirationally, I like to have the African and the American be a part of the art piece. And so I looked for what symbolizes our connection with Africa, as well as what symbolizes our connection with being American. My inspiration for creativity is hands down my mom. She has helped to, she guides me in ways where she says things like, if I'm struggling, like people have writer's block. Sometimes I have artistic creativity blocks, and she says, "It will come, don't force it." And so she's an inspiration to me in letting my creativity find its authenticity from my heart in terms of how I am expressing what comes to me through what I feel is divine energy. And I artistically am inspired by some of the different mosaic teachers that I've had over the years, as well as looking at the history of mosaics worldwide and some of my abroad travel that has taught me much about mosaic work. I feel like so much of the history has been lost, especially because this is where I live, in the Ann Arbor area of our African American history here. And like the mask, it's masked. And so having a place like this offers a voice, a placement, a contribution to the community that we have given of ourselves on so many levels to any community that we happen to live in. And so here we are in Ann Arbor, getting that opportunity to say, yes, we're here, we belong here, we've been here, we've contributed to this community. One is to find your voice. It doesn't have to be any particular medium. It's an expression of something deep inside that can be expressed in no other way but through your art. and that art is a part of our life. It's a part of our survival. It's a part of a bigger part than what is shared with us in the education system. It is a part of where we have come from. We lived our lives artistically. We can still live our lives artistically and have another type of expression and voice through our creativity. So I encourage everyone to find that voice and to let it flourish and to share it with others. My exploration with mosaics started at a very young age when I made an ashtray out of a kit of mosaic, but I didn't revisit it again until around 2006. And I traveled to Spain, to Greece, to Italy, and looked at some of the canon expressions of mosaic art. But I also then got connected with a school in Chicago that is sole focus is on the comprehensive study of mosaic as an art form. And so I've taken multiple classes there and then also connected with people outside of that school, where that school brings in a lot of people from Persia and Italy and Spain to teach mosaics. But I know that mosaics is larger than the canon. I think for me, one thing, experience I had was with Toni Morrison when she came to Ann Arbor, and she started to talk about literature and how the canon of literature may be Shakespeare, but if you focus on Shakespeare, you leave out every other kinds of expression, literary expressions. And so for me, mosaic art, yes, the Romans, they're good, and but the Egyptians also did mosaic. The Incans did mosaic. The Africans did mosaics, aside from the Egyptian, but in the lower part of Africa, they did mosaics, but it wasn't something that was meant to stay. So the history of mosaics is a lot deeper than what the canon is. And I just really hope that everyone continues to find their own authentic voice in whatever art form it is that they practice. Yes, there is a canon. However, the canon is multidimensional throughout time, throughout cultures.